Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. It has been a while since I've spoken, and I'm joined by a very special guest. Hello buddy, introduce yourself.
Hi.
And we're back here. 97 Radical is joining us once again.
Hi again.
Yep. And today, we're going to be doing a tier list of one of our favorite Roblox games that has sadly died out, known as Encounters.
I don't know how well this is gonna do because you've never really done anything in Counter Z. I've never really done anything in Counter Z. It's just kind of like a thing that we like.
Yeah. The main reason we're doing this is because we started playing Encounters a while ago, and we're ready to start, and we wanted to do a tier list. We found out that it met a tragic end, like a year ago, and we just want to post this video to share that, it's still a decent game. While there's pay-to-win elements, it's still a good game.
Yeah, it's fun. We should probably at least like one point film ourselves playing the game, post like stream
Mm-hmm.
here, just so that way we can get some Encounters content. I think it's pretty good.
Uh-huh. So to start, I'm going to arrange these guys so that we can get them from, like, least cost to the most cost when in terms of gems or
I never really
crystals.
care about cost because I bought all the characters like 2 months ago.
Yeah, I'm just putting them in order because, like, it's, like, what you're most likely going to get, so. This won't take that long. Alright.
What tiers of swear words am I allowed to say?
I don't really care, dude, because you swear a lot, but I don't really care.
I'm not like Hasbin Hotel, but I'm on.
No, that show's trash. We're not doing that. Alright.
When I say Hasbin Hotel, I mean like someone who swears a lot.
Okay. Yeah. And don't just do it every
Plus.
2 seconds. But,
That's not.
anyways, I'm going to be arranging these guys in order. Or at least a order that seems fitting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, just for anyone who's watching, Encounters isn't a standard fighter; it's a platform fighter.
Like Smash Bros.
But it's not a 2D platform fighter; it's a 3D platform fighter. Like there's a Z-axis and everything. It's like a lot. And instead of like recovery moves, you have stamina, in which you could either jump or dash, and each action of either jump or dash uses 10 stamina. You can also shield for say 10 stamina every second. So it's like that too. You can also shield in the air. You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little debrief of some of the mechanics.
Yep. And we are almost ready to go. Now I just need to put this.
Separate all the pay to wins.
Pay to wins are just going to be randomly scattered around.
You can see how old this tier list is from like how it says new one, Saul.
Yeah. Actually, it was only made a year ago. So even though the last
Game stopped getting updates, like
the game got updated technically the game got updated back in March, but the game's dead. They didn't add any more champions, so they haven't added anything in over a year.
screw you, Voldex.
Yep. Screw you, Voldex. Had to tarnish this game.
Voldex. Is that possible?
I wish.
How is Voldex stock looking right now?
Anyways, if I can get these stupid ads out of here, I wish I could, but I can't.
You don't have an ad blocker in?
No. Anyways, what was I gonna say? Alright, now they are all arranged. This is from we get from around the starting area down to, the pay-to-win characters from Frankenstein to Willow. So, without further ado, let's get started. Me and you are gonna alternate a bit. So, you want to start off with Noob?
Okay, so before I start off with Noob, are we talking about singles or doubles or like overall?
Overall, so both.
Okay.
Alright.
That's gonna be a solid B on Noob.
Yeah. Noob is a good king.
No. C.
Yeah. Noob is a good character. He's got a lot of versatility and things that, make him a pretty good starting character. However, he's got...
Are we like alternating like how are we alternating?
We're both gonna talk.
I don't think Noob is a good character. Well, it's kind of like hard. A lot of his moves involve. Well, one of his biggest moves is his slam attack, where you can just like slam opponent to the ground and stun them for a bit. And he actually kind of has an infinite where he can slam you, wait a little bit, wait before you get up, and but after the first or after the second slam, you can kind of hold shield. It gives you the ability to hold shield after that, so that's kind of like a semi-infinite, just if you don't know. I also don't think Noob has a lot of kill power on his own, because his only real killing moves are his ultimate and I guess the flurry punch thing, as well as basic attack, but that's kind of hard to hit because you can either just side dash out the way or jump over it.
Yeah.
A lot of Noob's moves are pretty easily avoidable, but where he really shines is in double battles, because his pin downy thing, it has like a lot of synergy with basically all the cast.
Yeah. With that fact alone, I'd say Noob in a singles match is like D or F tier. But boosting him up, considering the fact he's so important. I mean, he's not that important, but considering the fact he fills basically any role in a doubles match. In doubles, he's literally S or A tier.
Yeah, he's one of the best supporting doubles characters, so
Even though
I
he's
would say
supposed to be an
solid.
offense. So overall,
Mm-hmm.
where do you think
Yeah,
Noob should go?
I'd say I'm struggling between C or B, and it's not like we can't make a B.5, so we're gonna go C,
Alright.
like a
Noob
high C,
is
a
C
high
tier.
C.
Next up, Construct.
Ah, Construct, my old main. He's ass. I'm gonna give it to you straight. He's total ass. Oh, his moves, they're hard to hit. They're hard to hit. Like he hits like really hard, and he's basically just like swinging an anvil around. But the thing with swinging an anvil around is it's kind of hard to because you can't hit anything.
Yeah.
A, a lot of his hitboxes are like honestly deceptively small, and it's not. He has some good combo game. He has pretty good combo game, but he does. I don't know how much this matters, but he has like one of the most lackluster ultimates in the game, where he turns into like an evil shadow version of himself, and then the next hit that he does is like boosted in power. But the thing is about that evil shadow version, you can't gain any stamina while you're in that evil shadow version. So if they dodge some, so like if you're construct, you go shadow mode, and they dodge your hits and they get you off stage, and then they somehow get an edge guard on you. Edge guarding is already like pretty potent in the game, but since you already use stamina to hit your moves, you're off stage with like 30 stamina, like what, 20-ish feet away, you're gone.
Yeah, it could have been said better. Construct's definitely got a lot of flaws to his name. He's good when you can finally hit, your attacks. And quoting himself, his attacks are quite solid. So, yeah. So overall, if you have enough patience and you have enough strategic skill, you can use Construct to do some good
But
damage.
you need like pinpoint accuracy
If
though.
you
If
have good
you're
accuracy, Construct can be a really good character. But otherwise, Construct is very flawed, and a lot of his moves are way too gimmicky without much advantage at all.
That being said, I did get into some pretty like crazy like freaking Marvel Rivals Magic kind of combos where he hit me and dashed in and then dashed me in the air like an Ike up beat. And that experience just kind of stuck with me. I don't really know his combo game. Let's just put him in D tier.
Yeah. But what do Magic and Construct have in common?
If you don't know how to use him, you suck.
Yeah. Also, they need a buff severely.
Yeah, true, true. I wouldn't say Construct needs a buff because he's kind of like a like a like a little guy character. Like your kid, your little brother uses it because big damage.
I mean,
Do you
he's
understand what I'm saying, or am I just speaking bullshit?
you know what you're saying. I know what you're saying.
Okay, cool.
Construct, though, I know he's a beginner character, but some of these beginner characters are freaking insane. We'll get into some of them later. There's 5 more of them that cost very less. The Construct used to be the first character you got in the game, which explains why he's not that good. But considering the fact you
And
need
Noob used to be the joke character, but now I
Noob
guess kind
became
of
the
the roles
starter character.
reversed.
Noob wasn't actually added until like season 2.5, so he's one of the latest characters. He's one of the last characters that you can actually buy that was added to the game. So
Damn, I
yeah,
did not know about that.
Construct is D tier due to his lackluster, kit. Next up, the bane of my existence and Sawyer's. So,
It's fine. I don't care if you name drops me. People have done it before.
did you really just pause for that long just to say that you didn't mind?
You pause, because, oh wait, do you want me to talk?
I thought you were gonna say something.
Oh, damn, I hate this character,
Yeah.
but this character is awesome. So the whole point of Hannah is that she's horrible at close range, but she is amazing, 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 amazing at long range. And she has her move. Technically, it's called like a special, but it's really her right click. She holds it down and she charges this big ass ball. And the more she charges it, the more damage it does, and the bigger it gets. And there are like two things she could do with it. She could either just hold it down and then unleash like a really big one that's hard to dodge, or she could spam like a bunch of little tiny ones and get you in like basically just like carry you off stage, and as well as like solid like little ball combos into her big ultimate, which is like a big tornado, and as well as she has like that tornado hit down move where she can like get like a large vertical boost from it. Like Hannah's like one of the few characters with a recovery move. The only characters like with moves that 100% recover them are Hannah with her jump thing, Walter with his umbrella,
Yeah.
and I guess kind of Drago with his dumb little blue spin charge thing. Hannah is 100% S tier, but she is countered by a lot of anti-projectile characters like Leroy, Drago, and most notably Sage. But that doesn't mean she isn't one of the worst characters to fight and one of the best characters to play. It's not fun playing her, but you will win. She is S tier.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just take over because that's kind of okay. Let me explain. So Hannah,
Say too much and like did it make too much sense?
nah, it made sense. It just kind of scattered a bit, but
Yeah, you take my building blocks and make them into the second tower.
okay. Sawyer,
No?
dude.
Yeah?
Oh my god. All right.
Make them into that big ass M in the Arc in Missouri. You could do that.
Better. There we go. That's better. Jesus.
It's not cool, but you can do it.
Okay. So, Hannah is a bit of a gimmicky character, but overall I feel like she's one of the most reliable and also one of the most hated for a good reason. The thing about Hannah that is really annoying is that she has insane edgeguard potential. While most characters have this in the game, a lot of characters can edgeguard, Hannah takes this to the extreme because it's not like she can do it with... Because the thing is that with Hannah, she can basically do it infinitely because she'll always just stay on the ground and juggle you with her projectile. Now, other characters that have that have edge guarding potential are a bit gimmicky because number one, either they can only do it with an ultimate or something like that, or number two, their one attack that can do it can be countered if someone knows how to play around it. Hannah's is hard to counter because unless you have a height advantage on her, and you can safely shield in midair, which doesn't keep you still, you're just gonna fall and die. So Hannah easily has the potential to carry you off stage, but there's a lot of characters that have, but any character with a stealth move or any character with like dash potential can easily cripple her if she's not in the right hands. If she gets caught into a combo, Hannah can easily be killed. So, what were you gonna say?
I will say two things off of what you said. One, it's really important that little piece of tidbit, her staying on the ground, because you only charge stamina in this game if you're on the ground. So the fact that she can edge guard you while just standing like perfectly still is an incredible feat. And another thing, edge guarding in this game is extremely powerful. Like it's not like Smash Bros. Where like they can hit you like multiple times and you can still live. In this game, if you get hit twice or once when you're off stage at like more than 100, you have no hope.
Another thing that's
Because
risky is Hannah can drain your stamina really fast because you're gonna try to hit her and she'll just dash away using a recovery move to propel herself upwards and away from you. Hannah can easily be one of the most annoying because her projectiles have something that's pretty annoying. So you know how when you're in platform fighters such as this, there are some projectiles with knockback, but none of them are exactly too strong? Hannah's always inflict knockback, so no matter how much you charge up, they will always inflict knockback.
speaking of knockback, in this game there is no hit stun. It's immediate knockback. But when you're at low percents, it's slow knockback.
Yeah.
It's like slow, and it can just combo into other things really easily. As well, reason why edge guarding is so hard is because your recovery moves get used, and since you're not on the ground, and when you're knocked away again, you have less stamina and can't recover too well.
So while I'm a hater, and I think she's an absolute horrendous character, I think Hannah deserves a high placement in the A tier due to the fact that while she can be countered, her reliability.
She has her counters too.
Yeah, and considering the fact there's actually a decent amount of them, it does cripple her a bit. But considering the fact she can easily guard most of the cast pretty easily, makes her a really big threat and a really annoying character to play against. Possibly the most annoying. Is a good Hannah that knows how to counter, other characters designed to counter her are the worst players ever because they will just never lose. Alright. Next up.
Hannah does have some pretty good counters in Sage, Drago, and if anyone even plays him, Leroy. I did go against one good Leroy, though. He was honestly pretty solid.
Right. Next up, Ryan. So, I haven't really seen too many people use Ryan until lately. Yeah, until lately.
I did get one time where I fought like 5 Ryans in a row.
Yeah. A really good Ryan player is threatening. Like, for example, we and Sawyer I'm around 3,000 trophies. Sawyer's at nearly 7,000 trophies. And we fought 2 of these guys that were both at 25,000 trophies. And, of course, we ended up losing. But we went against the Ryan.
What? You said kind of like of course, like it was obvious, but we had the more trophies.
I said 25,000.
Oh, 25. I thought 2,500.
No.
Not that. I gotta listen.
Of course, we ended up losing. But one thing that happened is that afterwards, due to the fact his partner was lagging and we took the next win, we challenged the Ryan just by himself. Keep in mind, it is 1 against 2, and we're both playing some of our best characters. This dude would cripple us constantly because he can charge his ultimate really fast, and his ultimate is the worst. This is possibly the best ultimate in the game because...
Can I explain it?
Absolutely.
So, most ultimates... Now, an ultimate ability, whenever you do damage, you gain, like, a little bit of ultimate. And an ultimate ability can really be used, like, a couple times every stock. Depends. Ryan's charges at a moderate pace, but what it does is insane. It instantly teleports you to the opponent and does, like, 70 damage and a lot of knockback. And I do mean instantly teleport. It's not like another character like Saw where you kind of have to aim it. It's an instant teleportation.
Mm-hmm.
And you can use it not only just as a killer, but as a recovery move. And I think he's like one of the only characters with an ultimate recovery move. Unless, I guess 9 Soon would kind of count, but I don't know. It depends if 9 Soon's ultimate, like, recovers your stamina.
Mm-hmm. But, yeah. And let me give you an example of how broken this thing is. Even in the trailer of the game, they reference this. Because they have Kusanagi ended up taking up 3 people and doing a lot of damage to Ryan. What does Ryan do? Instantly teleport constantly back to her just to smack her into oblivion. Hell, when we were fighting with this Ryan, I cannot tell you how many times. We're both at like 450 because it took us that long to kill him. This dude was at like 900 and we smacked him across the stage. Just used his ultimate, did it back, just to come back. He would do this over and over again and we got destroyed.
He was really good.
Yeah. So overall, while Ryan's other parts of his kit are lackluster, his ultimate is easily what makes him make or break.
I mean, he does have some pretty good sword slashes, big hits, and that cool little projectile thing.
The problem is that compared to other sword fighters, he falls a bit short, considering other sword fighters have a lot more either gimmicks that make them more reliable, damage, which is more effective, or just better combo potential.
I will say his little projectile, which is like a little sword slash beam, kind of like cloud neutral beam. It's great for edge guarding.
Yeah, it is pretty decent for that, but it is pretty thin, so it's easy to avoid. But considering the fact you can easily just negate any knock.
If they're off stage and they're just kind of like jumping up and dashing, you can kind of predict a little.
Yeah, but considering the fact you can just negate any knockback, that comes towards him and just teleport back to you and finish you off, I think Ryan deserves an A tier.
Speaking of mitigating knockback, a lot of Noob, his moves have a weird super armor thing where he gets hit
The reason we put Noob at C tier, though, is because he's easily one of the slowest characters in the game. So if he misses an attack, you really pay the price for it, because he's just going to stand there for a little bit, easily allowing you to just take damage, because he's not invincible during his animations. Even when you smack someone down to the ground in, like, free-for-all or doubles, the opponent can still hit you.
It's less of slow and more of a lot of end lag, as we would call it.
Alright, next up, probably one of the most weird characters. I don't really think you're gonna know too much about this girl, Sawyer, but I'm gonna explain.
I know her. You play me as her, and you're not that good.
I know. But, Rena.
And she's not good at either.
I've actually seen some pretty good Renas.
I will admit, yeah, that is honestly, like, Rena, in my opinion, has gotten better from what I've seen, but I don't think that she's that good of a character either.
I'm gonna be honest. Even though there are a lot of characters that, take some time to play, I think Rena is easily one of the hardest characters to master in the whole game.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I'm gonna say it. Rena is easily one of the hardest characters to master in the whole game. So, similar to Hannah, she has a lot of edge guarding potential, but Rena's got a bit more weird kit. You see, she's got a...
She's an archer, by the way, just so everybody knows. Also, Jojo, I'm just gonna kind of let you explain everything, because you know way more about this person than I do.
Alright, so Rena's kit involves 3 things. It's pretty similar to Hannah, it seems like, but it's pretty different. She's got a regular arrow, which she charges up for a bit, and it can do some knockback and good damage that knocks them away. However, it's a lot slower charging than Hannah's and isn't nearly as effective at edge guarding because it's not nearly as large. The next up is her right click, which is a burst fire. It fires a bunch of short projectile arrows for 5 stamina. It's basically the way she can charge up her ultimate the fastest, and a reliable way of doing the most damage. But the arrows are pretty small and near close range. She can easily be countered in it. Her next one is a harpoon, which she throws down that allows her to easily cling to different areas. So basically an escape option like Hannah's,
I've never seen that harpoon a day in my life.
Basically this harpoon can easily... this harpoon does not do damage, but instead of mainly hitting you vertically, it just clings onto whatever surface you throw it to. So you need good accuracy to actually fire it. But Rena's ultimate is her real thing that makes her shine. It's kind of hard to charge up, but when you charge it up, it fires a flurry of arrows and fully charged arrows. Around, 10, I'd say. It fires around a bunch of the small arrows that you get from the burst fire, and 10 charged arrows that could combo you into oblivion if you're not careful, because...
That ultimate is one of the best carry you across the stage things I've ever seen a day in my
This is a reminder.
Yeah, Rena's really, really threatening if she can get her ultimate perfect. Because it will just... Because even if you're at, 30%, you haven't taken that much damage. If all of Rena's arrows hit, you are done for. Because each arrow does, 30 damage. So piling those all up to each other and the fact they all do a decent amount of knockback is just going to carry you off the stage.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Rena is really very hard to master because a lot of her kit requires pinpoint accuracy and a lot of training because you also have to be pretty, fast, when it comes to reflex. Because some of these characters can easily just blitz you into oblivion. So having a long-range character when there's a lot of small maps sounds bad. But Rena makes it work. So overall, when it comes to people that are... So overall, it sounds like she'd be a D tier. Well, maybe not when I explained it. But really good Renas.
Honestly, that good.
Huh?
C tier is fine. Yeah, C tier. You were putting her in C tier.
Yeah.
I was just at Roblox for a quick second because I didn't know about the harpoon arrow and I was just testing it out a little bit.
Yeah.
Are you serious about to put her in S?
No. I'm saying, Rena's good. Rena doesn't sound that good based on, in terms of just, picking her up and giving her a go. If you master her, she's easily an S tier character. But for now, I think she either serves as B or C. But considering the fact that she's harder to master, I think C sounds good. But her potential makes her around B tier.
Yes, he's fine.
So Rena is probably an enigma. I'm not sure about saying Senthy's bad, because Senthy's kind of weird. She's got a lot of ultimates in this game are kind of fast charging, whereas they're supposed to be spammable but reliable damage. Senthy's is one of those ultimates. A lot of her attacks involve her slamming the ground. She's got a whip she can basically use to cling to opponents and drag them in. But unlike, say, Rena's, where this is supposed to be as an escape option, Cynthia is more, cling to opponents because she's a melee fighter. She clings to opponents, punches them for a bit, slams the ground with her gauntlets, and basically just keeps on blitzing them into melee. But her range is extremely short. Her ultimate involves her slamming the ground even more to do a lot more damage and knockback. So, pretty one-dimensional character. But if she can make it work, she makes it work. Anything you want to say?
I just want to recap. So her main strength is that she slams into the opponent and gives them knockback.
Yep.
So she's just kind of like a knockback heavy, just kind of like a get off the stage, you know?
Yeah, but she's also, she ramps up her ultimate fast. She's basically like punch a few times, ultimate. Smack a few times, ultimate. So basically, even though it sounds like she only uses her ultimate's basically, it's basically her only way to attack them off the edge. That's why it's spammable, because it's supposed to be get into she's mainly a short combo one. So you get them into short combos, hit them off the stage, fight other enemies, hit them off the stage. She's good for all modes. Single player, free for all, basically anything you can think of.
I will say, from my very, very limited Cynthia experience, most of her moves are pretty easy to just kind of like jump over.
That's why she has that whip to cling to opponents, because she's one of the shortest range characters in the whole game. So, where do you think Cynthia should go?
I'm not Cynthia experienced enough to give my 2 cents.
Yeah. There's
I
some...
would say, I guess, a C tier.
I think it's fitting for Cynthia. Alright, next up we have this prick.
Another... Arash, can I speak on this one? Because I got a lot of Arash experience.
Yeah, and I hate him too.
Arash is, would we say his design is kind of like racist or no?
I don't think so, because that's implying that's what we think he is.
Yeah. So it's either like we're the racist ones or he is.
Let's just not talk about it.
Alright, yeah, let's not. Arash is a bomber and he's not that fun to fight. He is another projectile character, but his left click is not projectile based.
It's a knife.
He's kind of like stabs you with a little knife over and over, and that gains ultimate pretty quickly and racks up percent, but it's only good for like low combos. His right click is a bomb that he can hold, and while he's holding it, it blinks a little bit, and then once it's done blinking and like stops making a sound, it will blow up. And the thing about this is that it's kind of like a better-ish, well, I wouldn't say better, but like different Hana kind of projectile.
These ones don't travel forwards, though. They only stay stationary where the explosion is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can throw them at an opponent's feet, you could hold it and then throw it for mix-ups. I mean, it's not as good because the sound will play regardless, like, of your holding it. If a Rash holds the bomb for too long, the bomb will explode in his hand and he will take damage too, which I think is a pretty good bouncing point. But once you hear the blinky lights, you can just press the shield button. So it's not even like that's fine for edge guarding, because it's really hard to hit while you're edge guarding.
No, it's not, dude. Do you know how big that explosion radius is?
Okay, yeah, if you hold it.
No, all you have to do is just stand on a surface, keep on chucking the bombs towards the edge, and they're just never gonna, recover. That's all you have to do to edge guard with a Rash.
Yeah, you can also hold it down so that way you delay it, so that way the bomb can be closer or farther.
The problem with the Rash is that he can also rank up a lot of damage on you because he can throw down these giant puddles of flaming flaming Molotov.
He can put down like 3 at a time, and it creates this large field of fire, and he gets a ton of both damage and ult extremely quickly. There are some rushdown Arashes who will dash into you, put down 3 Molotovs, start stabbing you, hit them with your ultimate, where he goes invisible, puts a bomb on you, and then after a little bit that bomb explodes. And I've seen some clips, this happened to me before, when Arash put a bomb on me, put down 3 Molotovs, started stabbing me, and then put down another ultimate in that window of time. He can get his ult extremely quickly.
And he's not even a fast charging ult. It just happens that quick, because the Molotovs don't just give him tick, 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 tick. It gives him tick, 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 that much ult charge.
He can rank up ult. Rank?
You can rack up.
Okay. He can get his ultimate really fast, and it's a good ultimate too. It's not like crazy good, but solid damage, good knockback. It's solid. Yeah.
The
And
one problem with Arash that makes him extremely good is the fact that he doesn't need to wait until the explosion is. Well, two problems. Number one, explosion mechanics in this game. You see, the explosion mechanics are pretty dang annoying because number one, every explosion is extremely big, no matter what character it is, because they all use the same effect. And also the fact that you can't see through them and they completely block your screen, so you can't see the opponent. Number two.
This game is third person only. You can't go into first person.
Yeah. Number two. Here's the other problem. Arash doesn't have to wait for the explosion to be gone to start throwing bombs. He can just, if he doesn't have a bomb in his hand, he'll just keep throwing them. So he can throw like 3 bombs in the same area. By the time it takes like 1 to explode, he's already got like 3 more bombs in that area.
Yeah, he can really spam them.
So
another thing about explosions is that they will send in the opposite direction.
So basically, imagine.
If you are standing and the explosion is to the right of you, you will go to the left.
So basically, imagine.
And vice versa. But this is like fully 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
So what that means is if you're below him, if you're below the bomb, that bomb will send you down. He basically has a spiking projectile, and that applies to any projectile user too. Any projectile that does knockback can spike. So that gives projectiles like a big boost in this game.
Yeah, so overall it's pretty annoying. But also, the fact that, just imagine is if Solid Snake's grenades from Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, he just throws grenades, you know how he throws grenades. Imagine if they took half the time they actually take to explode and they were as big as Samus's full charge shot. That is what playing against an Arash feels like at an edge. So overall, although Arash can be pretty annoying, if you get close, he is way more crippled than Hannah because his only getaway is just to use his ultimate to run away. And even then, that's not a good use.
If you get close, he can throw down Molotovs if he has them.
But even then, he'll just jump and dash away. If you get near him and you grab him into a combo, he's done for. Because even though he's got a melee, which is something that other projectile users don't have, is actually like a decent way to fight melee. He's just way too crippled up close compared to them because he doesn't have a single way to leave. So.
I will say, you keep going.
No, yeah, that's it.
I will say Rash does have a pretty funny interaction with Alina, because I will spoil a bit. Alina has a turret ability, and that turret has a hitbox, and if Rash isn't careful, he can accidentally put his ultimate on the turret instead of the Alina player, and it's kind of funny. Same thing with Sage. Sage can accidentally pull the turret instead of the person.
Yeah.
But yeah, Rash is 100% either an A or S tier.
I'm actually going to say he's a B tier.
Oh, B tier, really?
But I think A tier is fitting.
A tier is fine.
Now, Sawyer, I think you're gonna want to talk about this next guy.
This is going to be my biggest rambling of all time.
Oh God, here we go. Here you go. You can talk about your main.
Okay.
Just talk about your main. Just do it. Oh my God.
Seth is
What, perfection?
Yes, he's marvelous. But I was really going to say, I think he's probably one of the most fun. He's top 5 in my opinion, but he is one of the most fun characters to play. So what he does is that his left click is like one of the most original. Instead of like a weak little hit that gives like a little bit of damage, it's a chainsaw buzz, because he's a chainsaw guy, and he can just hold.
He's based on Leatherface.
Based on Leatherface, yeah, that guy, Featherlace, and
Leatherface, Jesus Christ.
same shit, different pants. And he could just hold that down, and he could hold his left click in a person, and it will rack up a bunch of damage, and he gets his ult charge really quickly from that.
He's the best noob counter.
Yeah, best noob counter. As if it isn't that hard to counter noob, but yeah. And he can just hold down and get a lot of percent in damage from that, and it's very easy to get ultimate too, especially in the early game. And he also has another move where he spins around, and he does some damage with that too. But that one does knockback, and it's probably like one of his only knockback moves that he can kind of reliably throw out, except for his ultimate and the other one.
Not the
what
other
that
one.
does is he can dash out into the open and hit you with the little tornado thing, and it's like a really good edge guarding tool, and that's That's really good. Because you can go out there and it surrounds his entire body,
He also has a hitbox below him slightly, which allows him
but
to...
not above him.
Not above him. It means that when he's charging towards you and jumps above you, goes near you and hits you with that aerial, it can hit you as like a aerial attack, which can send you flying still.
And then we get to the nuke.
Oh, not the frickin'
That's what I call
geyser.
it, anyway. So when Seth uses his E, it creates a giant geyser around him that does whatever damage, whatever percent he has to the opponent, and then doubles his percent. So if you're at 250 and the opponent is at 0, and you hit the geyser, your opponent gains 250% and you gain 500.
Now that sounds awful, but here's why it's amazing. You see, yeah.
It's my main. I know like a lot. It's probably one of the best kill moves in the game. If you're at high percent and like you taking a stock, you just have to sneak up on the guy, because that geyser goes infinitely both up and down unless it hits a solid surface. So if they're stalling in the air, you can geyser hit them out and like really kill them. You can also, like, if they're below, it could be a niche edge guarding tool. If someone's spamming projectiles, you could charge up a geyser, go under the projectile, and then hit them with the geyser above. It can also be used as a pretty niche recovery option if you're sent really far out and you have a lot of stamina, and a lot of percent. Plus, you can do what's called the double geyser, where if you're at like a modest percent, you could geyser them, and then if you're on the ground, immediately geyser them again for basically a free KO. As well, he also has an ultimate, which powers up powers up his right click, and his left click turns into a single hit 20 base power, no power, it's not like Pokemon, hit, which does a lot of knockback and is also really good for edge guarding.
Unlike Construct, however, he actually does gain stamina when he's on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a one-time use, it lasts for a while.
Yeah, it lasts. It's like a powered up form.
It is, like Construct, except Construct is a one-use. Now, I'm just gonna say this, if you're playing Melee and you go against a Seth, you can kiss your hopes of winning goodbye, because even if you play one that's stealthy and has invisibility, which a few characters do, have the ability to go invisible, it doesn't matter, because if Seth knows that you're attacking him, if you attack him for a bit, and you reveal that you're around him, he can just spam his right click, and he'll just hit you no matter what, because he goes around his entire body. Now, his edge guarding isn't the best, because his hitbox for that spin move is extremely small.
But it's better than a lot of other characters.
It is, because it has the hitbox below him, so he can just jump out, spin, and hit them away, but it means you can basically just jump above him if you're able to just do it. And the one thing that makes his geyser so overpowered is the fact that you take the same knockback as the enemy. So you don't take, like, what you would have at, like, 500 knockback. You would take the same that happens to the enemy. And unlike the enemy, you could actually plan for this, because the outline for it is pretty hard to see. But if you see it charging up, then yeah, you know it's coming for you. But what happens is that he runs towards you, you're probably going to try to hit him off stage, which means you're going to drain your stamina. Seth's going to recover stamina, because he's not going to try to attack you when you're doing that, since it costs him 80 stamina, but he's going to be on the ground for most of the time. Then he just hits you. You're low on stamina, but he's alright in stamina. He can recover, but you can't, and then you can just do it again. Me and Sawyer were able to fight an experienced Seth player called the Joseph Chan, who's ranked the #1 Seth in the world. Well, we beat him.
Ranked #1. He basically has #1 trophies and #1 time, #1 kills. But we don't know if he's the true #1.
Yeah, because you beat him in a one-on-one, we know.
Yeah. Also, he plays a little funny.
Yeah, because he relies a lot on the geyser, but it does give some insight into why the geyser is decent at low percent as well. Because one thing that Seth's motto is quite literally, I take the punishment and deal it back even harder. So even though he's supposed to sound like a rundown character, which he is, he can tank attacks from characters that have projectiles and just obliterate you. Like, he thrives on those attacks. He's quite literally a masochist.
One single open window and you're not gonna live too long.
Now, the only problem with Seth is that he's completely crippled against projectile-reliant characters. He can't do nothing. Like, Alina, Hannah, Arash, or he's done for.
He's too dialed in to rush down. He's way too dialed in to rush Dana. Hell, even like a freaking Ryan who's spamming his right click, he cannot rush in.
Yeah.
And that's honestly one of his biggest weaknesses.
If you can stop Seth from attacking a lot of the time and be able to stop a lot of his combos, he's completely crippled.
There are two techniques that I really like about Seth, though. One is charging your geyser and then going under a platform where a spammer is, so that way they're stuck taking the geyser no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And you get less knockback because you're gonna hit the top of the platform, and so you can kind of recover pretty safely, honestly. And another technique that I like is shield poking, where you can hold down the left or right click right before you press the shield button, and you will not take any knockback. You'll still take damage, but you will not take any knockback while you have an active hitbox.
Oh yeah, here's another technique.
If a character like Drago is using his E or left click, or like anyone is just trying to hit you really well, just left click shield or right click shield if they're I and you want to knock them away, and you're really safe. It's like a really consistent option for him if he's getting reverse rushed down.
By the way, one more thing. If you think you can just outrange Seth as a melee character with a bit more range and then be able to combo him into Oblivion, there's a technique that really pisses me off, but he can do it. You see, if he holds down left click and shields at the same time, it drains his stamina faster, but he's going to keep on attacking while he has that, because it's not an animation, it's just a jab, so it lingers. So if you're above, since you're going to be in his radius trying to attack him, but you don't know the shield's there, you're just going to take like 100 damage in a matter of moments, and there's nothing you can do about it. Except if you're playing as a projectile character. And you can't shield his geyser.
Yeah, no, you can't shield his geyser. That's unshieldable.
Yeah. So overall...
If his geyser was shieldable, he'd be beat.
Yeah. But this character is freaking crazy. But he's also a character that, when he gets countered, is probably the most countered. When I say the most countered, that doesn't mean he has the most counters. It just means that when he's countered, he's practically useless against them.
He gets countered the hardest.
Yeah. So, with that, where do you think Seth should go? I think he should belong in the F tier.
F?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, I'm joking.
You're Josh and McShane.
Okay.
I think he's S.
Okay. Alright, I'll put him in the S tier.
Get that motherfucker back up there. Before I make an argument that gets Orion triple C negative.
I will murder you, and why'd you have to spoil who I made? Actually, maybe he's not my main. We'll keep on going. Okay, next up, the character that neither of us have played ever.
Or can pronounce.
Aloysius.
It could be Aloysius.
It's Aloysius, dude. I don't care what you say. Okay.
I have played Aloysius.
Aloysius.
It sounds wrong.
Aloysius.
What's an alloy?
Oh my freaking god.
Hold on, I'm googling this right
You don't know what an alloy is.
I'm DuckDuckGoing it. Hold on.
Jesus Christ. I can't believe you still use DuckDuckGo.
You talk about it's technically not DuckDuckGo. It's Google with the DuckDuckGo thingy. I downloaded DuckDuckGo into Google so that way I can still have the free sample chat, so that way I can borrow.
We don't need to hear your story about it down at DuckDuckGo. Just find out what it means, because I can't believe you don't know what an alloy is.
You keep on yapping about that guy.
Okay, so Aloysius is a bit weird. From what I've seen, he's got a bit of a weird kit, because he's got a standard fire, which is basically kind of like a short-range assault rifle attack. But overall, it's not exactly too effective, like a lot of his kit, but he's basically kind of like, more, how do I say this, a more fast fire, he's like a ranged Seth, not in, like, the same regard, but, like, for the jab, he's got a lot of damage he can do for his regular attack, because this is, how I say this, yeah, his assault rifle can do a decent amount of damage. He can switch his guns into a, God dang it. He switches his gun into a pistol. No, I remember a bit of his moveset, because he's got a pistol he can use, which can do a decent amount of damage. I remember he can switch his gun into that. I think he has a shotgun he can use, but he's pretty range reliant and doesn't exactly do too much close range. But he's got a bit of a bizarre kit. He can also pull out a rocket launcher. I know he can do that. And a lot of his attacks take a lot of stamina though. So that's a bit of a, tough thing to do. Do you have anything you can do that you can say about it?
Alloy, noun. A metallic or solid.
Are you freaking kidding me?
Is composed of a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals, of metals and non-metal or metalloid elements, usually for the purpose of imparting or increasing specific characteristics or properties.
Sawyer?
Example: brass is an alloy of zinc and copper. I did not know that. That's all I have to say on the subject.
Are you kidding me?
Actually, equipment C.
Your entire subject was talking about you finally figuring out what an alloy is?
That was my research project, right?
And by the way, I looked it up. His name is Aloysius, so yeah.
Pronounced in such a way.
Aloysius, yeah. Okay, I'm just gonna put him in D tier because I've never seen a good Aloysius ever.
My brain's gotta tell my tongue to like that name.
Okay, well, it's how it's pronounced. Anyways, this guy, the one-trick pony that I couldn't play, but you frickin' troll me with all the time.
One Trick Pink Pony Club? What?
Sawyer, I said one-trick pony, not Pink Pony Club.
That played at the dance last night. It was awesome.
Ah! And I don't need to hear about your middle school prom, and I don't think my viewers need to either.
I'm not gonna talk about it. I was only talking about the Pink Pony Club.
You said the dance. It's pretty obvious you went to the prom or whatever.
I think you're confused.
Anyways, just talk about Walter.
Walter is kind of, he's a pretty heavy reliant on his charge move.
The most deceiving character in the game.
Yeah, he looks like a joke character, but he's actually pretty good.
Now, he doesn't look like a joke character, but the thing is that his moveset is easily like the most what the hell, why does this guy have this?
His left click is a 1, 2, 3 kind of sword dash, but instead of a sword, it's an umbrella. It's kind of like a carbon copy of a Arachne sword dash, but I think
Arachne doesn't have a charged sword dash.
And I don't think it combos into like a 100% 1, 2, 3, but it's like solid close-up damage, and it does a bit of knockback. Plus, it can be used pretty well for edge guarding, although it's not his best edge guarding tool. His right click is a charge move where he charges it, and when he unleashes it, it's an umbrella dash and like a spear skewer. I think is it Ike side B?
Yeah.
No, that's Hucha Hucha. No, like I'm thinking of the big spear dash forward, like the dash thing. Maybe I'm thinking of Meat Sword Fighter.
Meat Sword Fighter doesn't. Meat Sword Fighter has a whirlwind dash.
Well, I mean, he has two, like, spear going forward things. But, like, he kind of charges umbrella forward like a little lance. And he can charge up to 50 damage, but it takes 65 stamina.
Yeah, and it's really, really awful because it takes forever to hit.
Is fully charges umbrella, then get out of there, fully charges umbrella, get in, get out. He can kind of just cat and mouse you and just kind of dance all around you all he wants. Before he can hit his ultimate, which is, for some reason, a massive swirling energy tornado.
Yeah, for some reason they decided to give this guy dark magic.
Which does knock back, but only 15 damage. However, if you get an opponent close to you and keep on dashing into them, the ultimate will hit a total of 3 times.
Yeah, because for some reason they decided to make his ultimate follow this prick.
One of the best things you could do is get an enemy to the ledge and then dash all the way out there with them, and so that way the ultimate hits again, and you're probably at high percent, and it hits all the way again, and you're definitely dead. And it's not like Walter can't recover, because what he could do is a 5, count them 5 stamina umbrella.
2 stamina.
In which no, it's 5.
It's 2.
I play Walter, it's 5.
Dude, I played Walter, it's 2. I'm checking right now.
Yeah, you check right now. Open up Roblox, not any wikis.
No, I'm not opening up the wiki, dude, because that crap's updated.
You sure?
I don't want to get into a match just to lose this Walter and lose my precious trophies.
You can go into training mode.
Fine. But it's gonna interrupt my goddamn sound, so I gotta look it up.
Yeah, fine. You look that up. Because you're more directed to the thing. I say it's 5, and it's basically like Peach Umbrella.
It's 5. God
but,
damn it.
But it lasts like forever. You can just,
God
like,
dang it! It's 5.
slowly, yeah, you can just like slowly drift toward the stage, completely removing the need to recover. And once you're under the stage, you can just jump up because the character jump height in this game is honestly actually like.
Yeah, because unlike frickin' Smash Brothers, it doesn't get rid of your other jumps. You can still keep this pissy brat alive if he has more than a bit of stamina. So you can jump up for a little bit, glide for a long time, but barely getting down any vertical. When he's right at the ledge, it looks like he's about to fall down. You can just jump up and just be safe. It doesn't matter if he's at like 600. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Plus, one of the best things you can do is if you are dead and you have a little bit of stamina left, you can just press your E and just slowly drift down. Guaranteed death by prolonging it so long to mentally anguish your opponent. I do vividly remember one game of Walter was slowly descending, and I was honestly going crazy. So I went all the way off stage that deep trying to kill him, and then I died for it, and I would have won. But I was just like, I was too focused on killing him.
I've countered him before because literally any projectile character can just slice downwards, and there's just gonna send him downwards. Plus, he's practically a sitting duck.
If he isn't moving around,
No Walter moves around other than straight.
Like, you can, like, use your ASDW thing, just to, like, twirl around down there if you're worried about getting hit.
If you can't do this character correctly, he's freaking D tier. But if not, I'd say he's B tier. Because he can be really... Huh?
B tier Walter?
Yeah. Because overall, I don't think... Because overall, when you play him right, he can be really annoying. Okay.
So you're saying he has a high skill ceiling?
Kind of, but not as much as Rena. Because Rena is S tier at max. Walter is around high B tier at max.
Alright.
But, next up is our first F tier, because I'm just gonna be honest, there's no world where Poppy is good. She's easily one of the worst characters in the game.
Should we really explain this kit? Nobody plays this one.
I'm gonna explain it, okay, because I have played it. This is awful. It is actually just awful. Okay, so she can put down these toxic barrels, which can explode after a bit if you hit them, and she's got a spray can which she uses, which this is itty bitty little range. It only drains 1 stamina for a bit. But it does literally like no damage. It does like no damage. And unlike other ones that have like a prolonged use like Seth's, this does like no damage or no ult charge, so it doesn't matter what the hell you do. It's just not gonna do nothing. So yeah, it's really, really annoying to play her. And honestly, I've never seen anyone be good at her. Every single time I've played against someone like that, they just do awful. And her ultimate is, well, she can basically kick an enemy and do massive damage. That's her ultimate. A kick. Yeah. It is awful. One of her... Like, seriously, she only has 2 attacks because one of her abilities is literally just detonating the frickin' cans.
Yeah.
And they don't do that much damage. It's not like...
Whole move slot for detonating the can?
Yeah, and it's not like Arash's where like the Molotovs can do a lot of damage and stack up. These things have very short range and they don't do that much damage. She's literally inferior in every single way to practically every character that's something similar to her. Easily one of the worst characters in the game.
Sage doesn't even have a move to detonate his, you just press it again.
Yeah, it's easily the worst character or one of the worst characters in the whole game.
Yeah, no one plays Poppy for good reason.
Okay, next
Unless
up.
I see a video of a Poppy, pun intended, popping off, I don't think it's gonna save her at all. Who am I getting a call from right now?
As I say, I wasn't sure if that was my phone or your phone.
My sister. You talk about Gunzo because you like him real quick.
Alright, you better. Oh my god, he's leaving the freaking town. Anyways, next up, Gunzo. I've played this guy, and honestly, I think he's got a lot of potential that makes him a good character. Because Gunzo has a lot of things that can, make him a good character. Because he's based on Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and he's got a regular attack, which is basically kind of like a short jab that that has I don't even know what the hell he's using as his regular thing. I think it's supposed to be a scythe mixed with like a harpoon. If any of you watched Ruby, which I have never watched Ruby, but if any of you have, then you probably know Blake Belladonna and her freaking weapon. What was it called? God damn it, what was it called? I don't remember what it was called, but nonetheless, it's practically just like that. Oh, Gamble Shroud. Gamble Shroud. That was what it was called. Basically, it just allows him to cling to opponents, which he does have with another attack, which is a mace. So just imagine what he has with Senti. He basically says the same thing as Senti. He's got another attack, where he swings out the giant scythe harpoon thing in a massive area around him. And it's pretty gimmicky, because it does 15 damage if you just hit it with the wire, but if you hit it with the scythe, it does 30 damage. And it's pretty wide out and does some good knockbacks. So you can combo them into that. You hit them with that a few times, go over there, smack them. What the hell are you messaging me for, dude?
I just wanted to tell you I'm back.
Okay.
I didn't really know the right time to be like, hey, so.
Okay.
It's like that.
Anyways, but Gunzo's got a lot of things that make him unique, and his ultimate's amazing because it sends this giant whirlwind around him that does a lot of damage and knockback. I mean, it doesn't do that much damage, just 30 damage, but it does a lot of knockback. And no matter what it is frame 1, so it just instantly annihilates any opponent next to you. So even if like the opponent's like a Seth, Ryan, or any close range character that can counter you, you can just use this and take them out. And like say when you're playing with that and consider the fact that Gunzo's attacks mainly rely on attacking all around him. If an opponent's able to dodge them once, they're never gonna come back to them, making them, like pretty annoying. But I mean it's gonna make it like pretty annoying to hit some of them. But when you can get his character right, you can do a lot of crazy things that makes him a really good character, which mainly includes edge guarding, but just damage in general and racking it up. It is very satisfying to hit that ultimate. It only takes 5 hits to get, and it's really good. So, you can't really go wrong with him. Anyway. Anything you want to say?
One quick thing to add. Most of his attacks you can just kind of like jump over.
Yeah, but even then, he does got some... You can basically, it's a height advantage over him, and not really too many characters can do much over that. Height advantage. And a lot of his attacks are fast, so it's not like you're going to have time to jump over them. Plus, his attacks do like that same knockback thing where they do that slow knockback for a bit of it. But he can fight against other close-range characters and still do alright at mid-range. So anything you want to say?
I guess B tier?
Alright. Well, I might as well rank him myself, because from what I've played.
Jojo?
Yeah? From what I've seen, he's got a lot of things that makes him good. But there are some flaws he has. But one thing that I think makes him good is the fact that I honestly don't think he has any counters.
Well, I mean, he can still get beat up though, right?
Yeah, of course. Like, any character with the right amount of skill and advantage over him is gonna, take him out. But there's no character, I think, in the game that has a direct advantage over him just because you play that character. There's no hard counters or any real counters to Gunzo whatsoever because he's got something for everything. He's got a grapple so you can grapple onto the projectile users. He's got mid-range for the, melee users that are like really close range. And for other mid-range users, he just does alright against them. He may not excel, but he's always just all reliable. I mean, he's a really important character to the game as he basically is like a good balance between them because a lot of characters that are supposed to like start or balances don't really have too many things to make them unique. But although I'm thinking about putting him in S tier, I don't think, considering the fact he's mainly supposed to be neutral, I don't think he can go up there. So I'm going to put him around the top of A tier. So that's my ranking on Gunzo.
Alright.
Kusanagi. Yeah, but she's got a few things that make her unique, but none of us have really played Kusanagi, so we can't really do stuff to,
I played Kusanagi several times, and I also did a bit of training mode, so that way I could finally understand the moveset.
I was about to say, the entire joke we have in Encounters is that you don't know Kusanagi's kit whatsoever.
It's mostly just a bunch of standard, sword slashes. It's nothing crazy, she's also pretty basic.
I think...
It's not bad.
I have seen a lot of people, though, absolutely excel in her and just destroy me with that, though, so I think she can deserve a B tier.
Yeah.
And I think the same thing goes for Hamza, because even though when we first played against him, he was absolutely just annihilating.
I got my crap wrecked by Hamza, dude.
Because we didn't know what the hell he was doing. Because he can go invincible for a long time, and do a lot of attacks with his bat that make him really annoying. And he hits hard. He can easily just stop you in your place. And unlike Construct, his attacks aren't nearly as hard to hit. And he's mainly supposed to be a tank, because he can go invincible for that decent amount of time. But he's extremely slow.
I think Hamza's like A or S, dude.
I think Hamza is A, because that invincibility is really annoying, and his ultimate can do a lot of things.
And his little projectile gun thing, I
Yeah.
hate that so much.
But it isn't nearly as like relying as say like what is it? Some other characters that have projectiles. It doesn't mean that he has to charge up with them. Next up is one of my maidens, Mai. You want me to take over with this one?
Me?
No, you want me to take over.
Oh, yes, please be my guest. You yap while watching music on YouTube.
Okay, dude, I wasn't freaking watching stuff when you did that. You have to at least put the same respect.
I'm joking.
Okay, and just for that, you tell me what you think about Mai first.
Not bad.
Not. Give me more detail than that, dude. I don't want you to try to skip out in this characters because I'm good at them.
Mai's whole gimmick is that she can kind of go invisible, but it drains her stamina, which other characters can do, but that's kind of what Mai's like one of her really big things. All the other characters who can go invisible just kind of have it as a side effect, more or less. Other than that, she's kind of just like a standard brawler. Most of her moves don't really involve big sword swings, but instead small little knife slashes. Because she's supposed to be kind of like a gangster, I think. Kind of like a female Hamza, but not like drug lord, but more like, I don't know, punk kid with a
Oh my god.
freaking spray can? I don't know, but like...
That's Poppy.
Okay, but like Poppy doesn't really give like that kind of vibe, because Poppy's wearing a gas mask, and Mai's wearing like a bandana.
Okay, you know what? I'm gonna explain what the roles are, because clearly you have no idea what the heck these characters are.
Okay, well, like, it feels more gangster than Poppy, even though Poppy...
Mai's an assassin.
Is that the lore?
Yeah.
I'm not caught up on this character's lore.
Okay. Well, it's pretty easy to know what these characters are either based on or what they are. Mai's an assassin. She's clearly an assassin.
Encounters Roblox lore.
Are you seriously looking up this crap right now?
They don't have it.
Of course they don't.
Alright, I'll keep... Yeah, you know, I'll listen to you.
Okay, well, Mai is an assassin. Nonetheless, Mai's good because she's mainly a good counter to some of the other... She's easily the best counter to any projectile user other than, like, Sage. Because she can just go invisible, dash towards the opponent, slice her projectiles from a decent distance, which don't drain much stamina, and her jab is really good because it does 10 damage, but unlike other jabs, it's very short. But it takes 1 stamina, like the ones like Seth or Poppy. But it isn't like extremely fast, so it drains a lot over time. This one, her playstyle is that she doesn't really have a lot of stamina drain with a lot of her moves. But she doesn't have like any major specials. That's mainly just her ultimate, which I'll explain. Mai just goes invisible, which drains her stamina for a bit. She dashes towards the opponent, goes near them, slices them, runs away because she's really fast. And just keeps on doing that over and over and over. So unless an opponent has really, really good precision or really good counters towards that, she can be very deadly if put in the right hands.
Big hurt boxes they can throw out.
Yeah. But unfortunately, Mai's damage isn't too high, so because of that, it's kind of hard to ramp up for some of the things, but her ultimate helps her out a lot. It does 60 damage, and it has probably I don't think it has the most, but it has probably some of the most a lot of knockback, let's just say. It's around the top when it comes to how much knockback things inflict, because this thing does a lot of knockback. Because it's literally her entire premise of how to get enemies off stage if they already aren't, other than her projectile, which barely does any knockback. This just sends enemies flying, so if they're at like 110%, which is pretty likely, considering she can easily ramp up a decent amount of damage, she just uses that, which is a bit hard to hit, considering it's a short little dash where she slings her knives and sends opponents flying. But the thing that makes it gimmicky to hit is that it's instant, no animation, and only the very start of her animation actually hurts the opponent. So even though you can control her dash a little bit, only the very start of her knife swing will actually like hurt the opponent. So it's kind of hard to hit. When you hit it, it is satisfying because considering how fast it sends you flying, there's really not a way to counter it. And oh my god, don't even get me started on double Mai and doubles because these two, because there's two Mai's, they can just stand next to each other, use the sword, not the sword, the knife slashes to easily keep you stunned for basically eternity if there's two of them. So Mai is definitely a really, really good character. Hard to use sometimes. It's another one of those characters that takes a lot of skill, but really, really good. Anything you want to say?
Yeah, she's just like a really solid brawler character.
I mean, she does get countered by
Honestly, I've never
characters.
seen double Mai a day in my life.
I have, because I was playing, even when you play characters that can counter her, like Seth, which, you know, is attack and attack all around him, which can just stop him.
Big hitbox.
Which just stops Mai in her tracks, because it just completely stops her from dashing around, which means you can just combo her after that. And also, when you go invisible and you get knocked out the stage, sometimes you can forget you're invisible, and that's just going to keep on draining your stamina over and over and over. But even when you do get knocked off stage, Mai really doesn't have too much stamina drain, so you're probably going to have a lot of stamina to recover. So, with all that said, and considering how reliable she is in my personal experiences, I think Mai deserves a really good spot up in the S tier.
Oh, wow.
Next up is a really gimmicky character, Paktu.
Poor Paktu. Rest in peace to Shakur Williams, I think that's his real name. But he was not done justice in this fighting game.
But, what do you want to say about Paktu?
Is that his real name? I'm just gonna...
I still don't know who top Tupac is, dude. You're gonna have to take over for this. Because you know his origin, I don't.
Tupac is one of the most influential rappers of all time.
Okay, well, I didn't know who he is, alright?
I'll send you some of his stuff after this.
He died at 25?
Yeah,
Dang.
he was shot to death.
Oh,
By
Jesus.
P. Diddy.
Really?
Over like a rap beef. I think the lore is that...
Was he really... Do not say lore, because that's only for games, alright? Is that really true?
Yeah.
Then why did it take that long for him to be arrested?
Because Tupac was about to expose him, and then Diddy hired guys to shoot him. I'm not gonna get into this. Pac 2 is, not that great. Like, up close and personal, Pac 2's whole thing is that he has this, like, musical little stand purple guy that he can summon to just kind of, like, hit people. It's kind of like Vortex, but worse. He also has this move where he stuns his opponents, like, locks them in time. But the radius is so visible, it takes so long to actually come out, and the time stun stops the second that you hit them. So it's only really good at, like, really late percents.
It's alright, though, because it does completely stop them in place, even if they're in midair, so they're just going to completely be stopped no matter what, which allows you to get the free combo with the stand, which can actually do some decent damage and knockback, but it's pretty hard to hit. But when you get that stun in, even though it's really hard to avoid, even though it's really easy to avoid, you can get some decent damage in.
Yeah. Also, his ultimate is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, have you ever seen Pac 2 Ultimate?
I think I have. You explain it, though.
Pac 2 Ultimate summons his entire, it shows as a ring on the ground, but it's an invisible orb, and whenever you are in that orb, Pac 2's stand will rush up to you, beat you senseless, and then launch you. You could be, it's kind of like Seth, it's kind of like Walter Ultimate, where, like, it will stay as a lasting hitbox, and you could dash into them repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly.
The problem with that, too, is that Pac 2 is never going to charge his ultimate nearly as frequently as Walter.
It's better ult than Walt, but it's not the better character.
Yeah, I think he's C tier, possibly D tier.
I think D tier is unfortunately the way to go.
Yeah, next up, okay, this is character.
Charlemagne, drop him right in F. No one plays him.
No one plays him. I've actually never. I mean, I've said that for a decent amount of characters, but I've seen people play every single character in the game, except Charlemagne. No one has ever played Charlemagne.
I have seen a Charlemagne, I will admit. He's not good.
He isn't. I've seen his moveset.
The whole thing with Charlemagne is that I think it's either his E. It's summons this large ability, this large like sphere of stuff around him that will constantly tick damage you.
That's his entire moveset. He's got no grand damage. I mean, I said the same thing with Mai, but Mai at least has a good ramp-up damage. This dude's entire thing.
That's the only thing that I remember.
I saw his kit. I took a look at his kit just to take a look to see what he could do. And he's got another really short thing like Poppy, but it's even worse because it does a lot less damage and just slows you down a bit. And it's just another like quick frost breath, but its damage is way slower than any of the other jabs, so it practically does no damage. At least Poppy's, even though it was short range, could do some alright damage. There's nothing with Charlemagne. He takes the title for worst character in the game. I don't know what to say.
We're not gonna give that the stretch?
We're
not giving that the stretch?
We'll talk about him later.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later. It's sad, but we'll talk about him later.
Okay, Dawn.
Dawn, I'd say, is honestly B tier. If you don't know Dawn, which you probably don't.
I do. I was literally the one that told you about his moveset.
No, I'm kind of talking to the viewer.
Oh.
Hi, viewer. I don't know what I'm doing anymore.
Yeah.
What am I thinking? He's kind of like he's based on Ryu, if you couldn't tell.
Yeah. I know.
And he's fine. Jojo, you probably know more about him than me.
Okay. Anyways, a lot of his attacks include he's like the closest thing we have to a fire themed character. He shoots some fireballs, which can do some alright damage. He's got a suplex attack where he can pick you up, slam you to the ground, and it'll actually spike you even if you're in midair, but it won't take you down with him like Bowser's grab. Because what it does is that it attacks you, it slams you to the ground. It just even if he's in midair, it just slams you in like an invisible floor, and it sends you flying down in a knockdown position like how it would be with noobs. But the problem with it is, number one, you don't stay in that knockdown position for nearly as long, and number two, it completely refills your stamina. It does. So it's practically helping you while hurting you at the same time. So pretty much, unless the opponent's at like 200 plus, you're never going to ever get a kill on this. Because the knockback...
Have you seen that after Dawn slams you, you get like a little shield?
Not really. No.
That happened to me.
No. But that does happen. So practically it just doesn't do much. The only thing it does just guarantees you a little bit of damage while just making the fight longer, because it just happens to have your opponent recover every time.
Yeah.
And his ultimate is, honestly, I don't remember what it was.
I don't know his ultimate either.
Yeah. So, C tier, I think.
She's fine.
You want to talk about Lena next? Because I know you played her for a bit.
Yeah, Alina, in my opinion, is, even though she's projectile, she's probably one of the more honest ones.
I remember when you hated her. I remember when you hated her.
Oh, yeah, but now she's good.
Now she's her bae.
Yeah. What was that?
Ah!
Wait, you might cut out a bit.
No, I'm not gonna tell you what it was. Just wait for the video. I'll show you the video afterwards. Okay, just.
I'm going to assume that you called her my bagel, and I will take that with my pride.
I didn't say bagel.
Okay, well. Her left click, she shoots like a bunch of little orbs, but unlike Hannah, they don't do knockback. They just get her ultimate really, really fast.
So basically like a range. So basically kind of like Aloysius.
And she has her right click, where she can charge it down, and when thrown, it does knockback.
She charges a shuriken.
Unlike Hannah, shuriken, right shuriken. It only charges to 10 damage max. Only charges 10 damage max. So that's honestly more honest.
And it's not nearly as large.
Yeah, it's harder to hit, but it is a good edge guarding tool. And one of her strengths is when she uses her E, it places down a little turret.
That goddamn turret.
With a health pool of its own that lasts for 60 seconds, and anyone inside that turret will get shot by it, and it racks up, and it gets damage on their opponent, and racks up a lot of ultimate for Lena, which is really good because her ultimate is one of the best in the game. It comes out really fast, and what it basically is, it's like Samus Final Smash, but toned down version. Well, I mean toned down, but it can carry
It doesn't.
You. It can absolutely just carry you to the opposite blast zone. But it
You're about to knock them off stage.
Or you just got hit by a knockback move, because if you are using as Alina, and if you use her ultimate, your knockback will cancel. It's not like new super armor where it will stop a bit and then keep going. It will stop completely, and then you can just be free to recover back again.
But the one thing with Alina that makes her, it sounds like she's just the worst version of Hannah. So why are we highlighting her so much? Because for some reason they decided to give that goddamn turret pinpoint accuracy and give it so much health. And it's not just like you can attack with ranged attacks and just hit it with like radius attacks and hit it off screen. No, you have to like directly stand there and punch it, which could destroy it fast, sure. But then it just leaves you open to Alina just shooting the shurikens or just charging enough because this Mega Man clone decides to do this.
He does actually have a skin called Blue Bomber.
I know. That's why I said she's Mega Man clone.
I will say that she has really two funny matchups. One of them is Drago. We're not gonna go too far into it, but Drago is considered one of, if not the best characters in the game. And Alina can hard counter because Drago is hyper rushdown. So if you put down your turret and just hold the shield button, Drago cannot touch you, and you can just kill him.
Because he can't kill the turret that fast. Because he can't kill the turret that fast.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing is that she is horrible into Arash, because Arash's bombs are, like, really good at hitting the turret.
Because even though I said radius attacks don't really affect it, Arash is an exception because of how big the radius is.
Yeah, I was about to say, it's not just that they affect the turret, they're also Arash's bombs, so...
Mm-hmm.
Also, she's also a really good counter to Willow, because I'll talk about Willow later, but she's a really good Willow counter, and Willow is really annoying.
Yeah. But overall, I think Alina deserves a very high A tier, possible S tier. I think I'm gonna put her in the S tier just because of the fact that I haven't really found a decent counter for her. She has weaknesses, but no real counters like Gunzo. But Gunzo is supposed to be a neutral character, while Alina's above average and plus.
Didn't I just kind of say that Arash was honestly a pretty big counter?
Arash is like the only counter though, and even then, she's still got ways to deal with them because they're practically have like the same fighting style. Because consider the fact that Arash is never gonna be close to Alina, the bombs are never gonna travel that far. The only way that he's gonna get kind of close is if he uses his ultimate to just sneak up behind him, but Alina can just put the turret down so she knows where he is. Now.
You might cut. Oh, there we go.
Okay, but if you want a way to finish games easily, then we can talk about our next person here, Sage.
Sage is what we call. It's honestly like a pretty unique class to this fighting game. I don't think I've seen it in any other platform fighter. Anti-projectile.
Anti-projectile and basically just rushdown, except taken to the extreme, where quite literally is just boom, smack, boom, dead.
I would say so too. So his left click is really kind of bad. It's 15 stamina just for a single small poke and 10 damage, but it does get you a ton of ult if you hit it. So I guess it's a good poking move. You could shield attack with it if anyone tries to approach you, so that's nice. His right click and by extension his E is really cool. If you throw, it's where he throws a spear at you, and if he hits that spear, he has 3 seconds to right click you again and teleport you to him, in which he can instantly just hit you back. And what you do is like he can hit you with the spear, go to the edge of the platform, teleport you back, and then you're like instantly off the edge and in a disadvantaged position.
Also,
after you get teleported, it sets a curse on you, and what that curse does is Sage can use his E ability to instantly afflict 50 damage onto you afterwards.
If he's not in the air.
So now you're off stage plus 50 damage more, and if it's really hard to edge guard as Sage if you don't have his ultimate, in which he throws down a giant spear from like 50 feet in the air, and which is honestly a pretty good edge guarding tool.
Yeah, but it's not like edge guarding as in like camping you off the ledge. It's supposed to be edge guarding as in camping you right near the edge. But similar to Seth, it is quite literally though really hard to hit if you don't get it timed right. It's pretty much just a once gonna happen if you don't have it charged up constantly. So it's pretty much only really one way. But the left click isn't too bad because while it is pretty hard to hit, for in terms of edge guarding purposes, it does send the opponent decently far knockback if they're in high percents. So Sage can easily pull like 110 damage in you for a decent amount of time, in like a really short amount of time. But the problem is that once he uses those attacks, he's pretty much a sitting duck because he costs a lot of stamina. Like, he's pretty much just uses all his attacks in one go, then has to charge up for a bit. Because otherwise, he's just a sitting duck for like a few seconds. He's not good close range because even though he can just easily hit the spear and do a lot of damage, a lot of sword fighters can do that burst damage way, way faster without using nearly enough stamina. I think he can be put in S, because even though he can be countered by other, melee users, that spear attack does allow him to avoid it, and he does have a pretty good ultimate. It's really just all-around good thing. Alright, next up is, Leroy. And honestly, I think...
Leroy.
I don't know.
I should talk about Leroy, because I know him a bit.
Alright.
So what Leroy does, his left click sucks. It's just kind of like 5 damage. It's kind of like Hannah left click. Never use it really. Doesn't even give knockback. His right click is where he throws a giant fishing line at you, and then he hooks onto you and yeets you into the opposite direction, or like of him. So like he'll throw you behind him. He'll throw you behind him, and it's honestly like another really good anti-projectile. He also has his E move where he sets up a bucket, and when that bucket is used again, he teleports to whatever spot he's on. And also his ultimate summons like a giant like whale thing to hit you for like a large area of effect. So he's just kind of anti-projectile, but he's not as good as Sage, so he's not bad, he just gets outclassed.
Okay.
I'd say like C tier, D tier.
I think D tier, because there's honestly just really hard to hit a lot of his attacks, and he's not good if he can't hit any of them, which sounds like pretty generic. Which sounds pretty generic because it's like the same with a lot of characters, but it's taken to the extreme with Leroy.
Yeah, his fishing line, you'll see it coming. He has a large wind-up animation for it.
Okay. But Fiona I think is an A tier because she's all around just like a really good just a really good sword fighter that can burst damage. She's kind of like Mai, except doesn't really go invisible.
Teleports though. She teleports.
She does teleport, but I think overall she is a pretty swift character that can do some decent damage. But she's less reliant on being more frail and is more just like mid. More like mid. What is it? Combo potential with a lot of good things. But I haven't really played her too much, so I think she's an A tier. But nothing really else.
I did get very annoyed with this one Fiona who is stalling.
She does have a lot of good things in her kit. It's basically kind of like above average for a lot of her attacks that basically just a lot of other characters have. I mean, there's characters that have better versions of her attacks, but none of her attacks are really bad.
Yeah.
Zhao is a B tier, I think.
Yeah.
I played him.
He's just kind of like a swordy with a projectile.
He's got a spear.
Oh, he's got a spear? Oh,
Yeah.
I wasn't paying attention.
No, he's got a spear. He
We
can...
fought that one really good Zhao.
Zhao's a shogun, but yeah, basically what he does is he's got a spear. He can he's got an electric spear which he uses to spear you for a bit. He can charge up an electric projectile, shoot at you. He can do an electric slam on the ground. His ultimate is summoning a bunch of electricity with a decent amount of knockback. But he's not exactly the number one combo potential, but he has got decent. He's like a good hybrid. There's a reason he costs a lot.
He's fine.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play like a solid character.
He's not bad, but he's decent.
Yeah.
Alright, next up is my actual main, Orion.
Yeah. I'll let you yap about Orion.
I'm not
I'm
gonna...
just gonna get some water real quick.
Okay. I'm not gonna talk for too long about Orion because there isn't really too much to say about him, but he's a really good character for a weird reason. Orion's pretty much kind of standard of the road. So basically, a little backstory. Encounters, the reason a lot of people stopped playing them is because a lot of the characters were quite literally just copy-pastes and reskins of a bunch of characters. They look the exact same, but just with different names. Like, for example, they had, Valorian here. He was literally just Goku. Sentinel was literally just Saitama. Vortex was, Joseph
I'm
Joestar.
back.
You got
I
Slash.
just get back on the call, and the first thing I hear is Joseph Joestar.
Let me explain. I was talking about how a bunch of these characters used to be reskins. So basically,
Right. Doesn't he have a JoJo skin?
Vortex. So I'm explaining this. So basically, a lot of these characters were just basically the exact copy paste of a lot of these anime characters, but they just happened to have different names, but they look the exact same. Like for example, Skyline was just literally just Spider-Man, but needed a different name. Valorian was literally just Goku. Sentinel was just Saitama. Vortex was just Joseph Joestar. Slash was just Tanjiro, and
Yeah.
Stretch was
Tanjiro's
literally
the
just
guy from Demon Slayer, am I right?
what?
Tanjiro is the
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
from Demon Slayer. Okay.
Stretch is from Stretch was literally just Luffy, and lastly is Orion, who was just Roronoa Zoro. So these two are from the same franchise. At least the characters they're based
From
on.
the what?
They're based on characters from the same franchise.
Who is Oren Zoro?
Roronoa Zoro.
Don't know who that is.
He's a character from One Piece.
Oh, One Piece.
Okay, but basically these two, that's why these two have a slightly different art style than the others. But they're not really pay-to-win characters because they're balanced enough. Because unlike the other pay-to-win characters, they were overhauled severely to make them different characters. Orion is a decent example of that. Orion is a really, really good character. It's not like they just have the exact same kits. They have, like, different movesets. Orion uses 2 swords, unlike Zoro, who uses frickin', like, 8, I think. He's got, like, 8 arms and 3 heads in his true form, so... Anyways, but basically what Orion can do is that he uses both of his swords to do some sword slashes, which are pretty simple. He can use a decent, his right click is really good because it slams down the ground and does 30 damage. It can easily be used as a combo setter. And his real special thing is his projectile, which isn't too spammy as it takes a little bit to recharge, but it's really good because it costs only 20 stamina. It summons a little energy, it summons a little wind slash, which damages the opponent. Does a lot more knockback than some of the other projectiles, but it's easier to avoid than some of the others. But it basically allows him to get up close to other opponents, but unlike, say, like other projectile users, which might be crippled close range, he's not a projectile user, he's a hybrid. So he just used the projectile. It's really good combo starter, because he used the projectile, goes forward, smacks the opponents a few times, ground slams, and continues like there. But the real special thing is his ultimate, which is basically kind of like Mai's, but better, because it can hit opponents throughout the whole thing. But it isn't an instant hit. Because while it does last for a bit, one thing that makes it unique, one thing that makes it good is something that should make it bad. The fact that it is literally has no startup animation. It doesn't have any flashy effects or anything like that. All he does is that Orion will stand there for like a second with his swords crossed together. Then he'll dash forward for a bit, slicing any opponent in his way, and sends them flying across the stage. And it's pretty easy to charge up. And Orion was a really, really balanced character. He's not overpowered, but he's definitely one of the best. I cannot tell you how many times I have made comebacks with Orion. He isn't too easy to pick up, but even when I'm down for a while, Orion has a lot of strengths that make him a unique character with a really good moveset and really good potential, and a really just fun character to play. That's why I main him the most, but overall I think he's balanced enough and a really good downgrade from some of these other pay-to-win characters that it didn't make him hated. So overall, with all that said, I think Orion gets a really solid spot in the S tier. Nearly a top 5 character, if not top 3.
Excluding pay to wins.
Yeah, excluding pay-to-wins.
Yeah, of course.
Now we go from one of the best characters that was a reskin, one of the best handled, to one of the worst handled.
Stretchy boy.
It's,
Pathetic.
what can we say? I mean, he's got no animation, but unlike Orion, who doesn't have any animation for just his ultimate, Stretch just has like no good animations for any of his moves whatsoever. But that doesn't make him bad. What makes him bad is how lackluster all of his attacks are. None of them are real.
Don't forget the flurry punch.
The flurry punches are literally just a worse noob and a worse version of like any other jab. His regular.
It's not like it does knockback. All it does is rack up percent.
Yeah, his ultimate is also just pathetic. He makes his arm bigger by stretching it out and smacks the opponent across the screen, which does do a decent amount of knockback, but isn't nearly as good as some of the other characters that have it, and isn't nearly as effective.
As a stretchy character, you'd think he stretched farther for
Yeah. But I wish they just handled him better as a character, because overall, compared to Orion, who literally cost the same, I mean, if you're gonna pick between the two, there's only a few characters that cost this much. Like, if you're gonna pick between Zao, Orion, and Stretch, why the hell would you ever pick Stretch over Zao or Orion?
Yeah.
Now we have a character that's basically borderline pay to win. By the way, do you want me to cover all the pay to win characters for this, or do you want to make a part 2?
Well, are these all the pay-to-win characters left?
No, after Arachne, because these guys are all attainable free. Well, without, luck and stuff like that.
So this is our non-pay-to-win tier list?
Unless you want to make it just include the pay to wins.
I mean, yeah, we can split into 2 videos.
Yeah, because we've been recording for an hour and 30 minutes.
Yeah, I think we've done enough.
Yeah, thanks
Plus,
for spending.
2 videos means more views.
Yep.
That's why YouTubers make part 2s, even though it's 2025.
Okay, anyway, but this is an hour-long video. It's not like a freaking 20-minute video.
Yeah, no, we'll stop it here. This is our non-pay-to-win, non-Robux list.
These are just the bought by Crystals list, or at least excluding Drago, who's just really, really specific.
Yeah, I mean, technically it's not pay-to-win, but...
They classify him pretty much as pay to win the whole time.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed, everyone, and we'll see you all next time.
Oh, by the way, if you're gonna link my channel in the description, I dropped an album.
Yeah, watch his album. Why the hell have you people not been doing that?
Listen, not watch. Oh, by the way, I did recently had to reorganize everything.
Yeah, I saw your community post.
The track list was in the wrong order. It's all right now.
Okay, but if you guys have signed up for that Mugen tournament I'm going to be doing, which nearly has the 16 people, so I'm going to be posting that.
Well, how many do we have? 14?
12.
Oh my.
Yeah. So once that is, I'm going to be posting those videos as well. I won't talk because I'm not going to really be talking for a lot of my videos. But check out his channel, because the fact that I have 12 more subscribers than him, even though he's got a lot more views, is ridiculous. I mean, I love it, but I wish he got more attention. So go support my friend, please.
I need attention.
Yes. Anyways, goodbye.